Hey everyone. In this video, I wanted to show you guys a super powerful feature that we have on the Track Attack Analytics app, which is called the segment analysis tool. So again, prior to starting to use this, you have to be logged in here and having synchronized your history. So make sure you do that so you can have the history that's downloaded from the server available to you. So the easiest place to get started here for the segment analysis is a single session view. And what's cool about this is that a lot of times when people are looking at their lap times and trying to analyze either the data or the video, they tend to focus in on just the fastest lap or the ones that are right around there because they think, oh, well, the other laps are kind of garbage and there must not be any good content there or good data. But what we want to show here is that there actually is a lot of good data and a lot of good learning that can happen from a lot of the other laps. So what you go through is you want to go through and select a session. So I'm going to select one of my last sessions at this racetrack at the Ridge, where I did not get my fastest lap time of the summer, but I got some pretty good laps in here, and this was an actual race condition. So as you can see, this was we were able to do 11 laps, and I have my fastest lap time of 1:59.8 in this race. So again, normally people would go in here and they'd select that one and kind of really think through that individual lap the most, and not really care or think too much about the other ones. But there's a lot of gold here that we are missing. So I'm going to go ahead and hit segment report. And I've also, prior to this, I've already created segments for this racetrack, and there's a separate video where you can go do that. But basically, what we're doing is based off of the segments that were created, which you kind of see them here, we go through and we catalog and calculate all the segment times, right? So as you can see, although my fastest lap time was 1:59.8, that actually only had two of my fastest segment times, and I actually had a concentration of really fast times here. So that helps you to really understand what's going on, and you're able to look at a couple of things. The first thing is an average lap. So if you're trying to focus on consistency, here's where you can take a look at what your average lap would be. Now, obviously, this one's a little bit biased because it's a race conditions. In the first couple of laps, one is the very first lap in the data set here was a intro lap. So I can go in here and actually unselect that one, and it will update the values. So now my average lap went down a little bit. And then let's just say for poops and giggles here, then I'm going to get rid of the second lap, which was the lap one of the official race, which generally has a lot of traffic, so you don't go as fast. So here, if I was trying to really focus on like, okay, at least in race conditions, like what's my average lap? Here's a pretty good view of what the average lap is. But the coolest thing here, again, is that theoretical fastest lap. So although my fastest lap was a 1:59.8, if we were to string together all of my fastest individual segment times, it looks like I technically drove a 1:57.819. And that's really powerful because obviously I did not drive it myself, but what that tells us is that at some point in time, I or you as a driver actually drove each one of these segments. So it is physically possible for you to do it again because you've already done it. And that's really cool, right? So one thing that I want you all to notice is we talked about this in some of the other how-to videos, but we have the videos if you've uploaded it to the site associated with each individual lap. So this indicator over here tells you as to whether you have that lap downloaded or not. I have already looked at this before, so I've gone through and I've clicked on these, but if you have this status on one of the laps with your fastest lap times or segment times, then all you want to do is just click it, and then there's a notification that came on my other screen saying it was downloaded. It'll download, and once it's done being downloaded, that icon will go from this to that one over here. So what I suggest that everybody does is go through and download all of the lap videos for the individual laps that contain the fastest segment times. And here's what's really cool is you can go through and actually play your virtual best lap. So I'm going to press this button here in a second, and what you'll see pop up over here is a video compilation of all of the individual fastest segment times put together. And what's cool about that is, again, is that you can go through and see what it actually looked like when you drove those fastest segments. And now you have a seamless, basically a real video of you actually driving that lap. And if you think about a lot of the coaching that you all have either received or read about from books like Speed Secrets, visualization is super powerful. And now you can take this and pluck yourself inside of your race car or wherever it is that you want, and instead of closing your eyes and visualizing or thinking hypothetically what that 157.9 would have looked like, now you can actually get in front of it and watch it and play with the steering wheel, play with your inputs, and actually drive it over and over and over again, so that when you do go back to the track, you're able to hammer down something near that or even faster. So I'm going to go ahead and play that here for a second. And I'm going to press this button here, which will resize it and make it bigger. And as the video is playing, you see cars appearing and disappearing from in front. That's just because it's seamlessly going through each individual segment. For a second. So that is probably one of the coolest things and one of the things that we've been working the hardest on to be able to do. You can actually go in here and click any one of these individual cells and it'll play that video. So as an example, if you were looking at segment 2 and you were like, man, I want to know, like, how did I set up that really fast segment time here? Well, you can go and press the segment prior to that and watch it transition into the next segment. You can go into the next segment and that way you can kind of really understand, all right, not only what did I do in that segment, but what happened prior to that, like why was I a lot faster there or afterwards, etc. So that is the segment analysis tool. Again, we're super excited about this because we think it's one of the most powerful things that we can do that we can provide for you all to really help accelerate your driving abilities. The last thing that I want to be able to say is that was data looking at, that was a session where it was just me driving. And although we're going to work on scenarios where you will be able to share and compare data with other people in the future, if you are having a co-driver situation, or if you're able to have your instructor go in there and drive your car in, let's say for half of a session, and then you go in there afterwards to drive another session, then what that gives you is in one session you have two drivers with different driving styles and hopefully somebody who's faster than you putting down data. And so I'll show you an example here. This is an example where I ran a 1 hour endurance race with one of my friends and driver coach, Ted Anthony Jr., who he is consistently a solid 1.5 to 2.5 seconds faster than me. So what's cool about this is that I'm able to do a segment report, and I'm able to not only get the fastest lap times for myself, but I'm also able to get the fastest lap times, theoretical fastest lap time for him as well, and see if maybe I'm doing some things that are better than he does and vice versa. Okay, so now the session is finished loading here, and as you can see, this is data of me driving with Ted as well. So this is a 1 hour enduro where we basically split the session right about in half. He might have gotten a couple more laps than I did. This lap here, being 3 minutes and 26 seconds, is when we did the actual pit stop, and it looks like all awesome. All of the fastest segments here are from Ted. But what's great here is a number of things. Again, you have somebody who's faster than you, who is able to drive your car in very similar, if not exact same conditions, and be able to put down reference laps for you. So here, not only do I have reference laps that I'll be able to show you how to be able to compare against multiple laps in another video, but now I have a virtual best lap of not just mine, which would have been a 157 something earlier, I forgot what the time was, but here I can watch a video of a 156.245. And if I can sit there, watch this over and over again, visualize it, practice it in my race car over and over and over again, I would consider it a massive high success if I'm able to pull off a 157 flat, which would not only be, by far the fastest lap that I've ever done at this racetrack, but it's still within striking distance of what Ted was able to do. The last thing here again is that you can go and remove laps from consideration. So I'm going to go through and again, this is the same exact conditions, but basically remove all of Ted's laps. So if I do that, all the data is being updated kind of real time. Okay, so I've gone and removed all of Ted's laps again, and as you can see, now it's just my laps. You can see the fastest lap time for my stint in the endurance race, and you can go down there and again take a look at what your theoretical fastest lap time would be in pretty much almost the exact same race conditions as the co-driver. Obviously, Ted's a lot faster than me, and this is just an incredibly valuable thing. So that's the last thing I wanted to show you guys about segment analysis. Check out our other videos, tell us what you think, and provide feedback here on the Track Attack Attack forum. Thanks.